Good morning, folks. It is 6:18 a.m. Eastern Time. Oh, I guess we're live now. It's 6:18 a.m. Eastern Time. Excuse me for the false start there. We are going live this morning, just this morning. It is a one-time thing, and the reason is we finally got to updating our full conference speech, all the additions, all the annotations, any edits we wanted to make. It's finally done, and we set it to upload last night to YouTube. Problem is, it still has 2.5 hours left to go, so the only way to make an upload to YouTube this morning was to do a live Google Hangout. Now, not really that big of a deal, and wish I can say that I had gotten a better night's sleep as I pull up my screen share, but this diabolical looking thing has been lighting the skies and rocking the windows, if you will, with the thunder. My puppies are beside themselves, very, very scared. Not exactly sure what's going on. In terms of the storms that did crop up last night, as of this point, they're not as strong as they were earlier last night, but they're still moving through the Midwest and the central states now. A point of correction, a mistake that I made. Today is May 12th, so based on the climate extremes warning I gave about 10 days ago, we should be out of the woods because the climate extremes warning was for May 7th through May 11th, yesterday. However, my thought process was that these lows were going to slowly trek across the United States and then move out to the Atlantic. However, this has gotten stuck right here and it just really hasn't moved. It has pinched off slower lows, and some of the thunderstorms that it has produced do indeed move across, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and onward. But the main cell, the one drawing up all the moisture, let me go ahead and pull up the wind map here. You can see we still have the low centralized way up here, and it's still drawing all the heat and moisture directly up off the Gulf, and then it's getting slammed into frigid, drier air, and they've all got to work out their differences on this thin line right here. Well, that's a lot of change taking place, a lot of equalization, a lot of energetic discharge, and that's why we're getting those severe storms. Anyway, that's our top weather watch, and it does remain. Apologies for saying it would only go till the 11th. I had no idea the low would stay there. Anyway, let's take a quick look at what we do whenever we're going to go look at the sun. What you can do if you don't have the link, you could just Google or Bing or Yahoo, whatever your internet search is, for Solar Dynamics Observatory, NASA. And we're going to just go ahead and do this with you this morning so you guys know how to do it. Easiest way to start is click Data up at the top and then the sun now. Now, before we get into all the fun stuff with all the pretty colors, we have to do our homework. We have to go delta hunting. So when we go delta hunting, the first thing we do is we pull up the intensity gram. Make it a little bigger so we can see that there. Well, despite the fact that on first blush you look here to the biggest spots, but look at how they're separated and how this is actually nowhere near as complex as it appeared before. This is the baby grouping that we've been looking at, and you can almost begin to see some central development. This is a traditional spreader with oppositely charged umbras on other sides of the center, and when they start to get central development is when they become a flare warning. This is our group that we've been watching develop for a couple of days now, and it appears like it may actually have the most complexity. Now, when we want to check and see how magnetically complex something is, we have to go to the magnetogram. You can use the black and white one, but why would you? Pulling this up, we can go and actually zoom in on some of the active regions, and I'm going to get us back here to normal size. All right, here we go. So this is that traditional spreader. You can see we're starting to have a bit of positive blue development in the middle, but right now we're a beta class. It's got both polarities, but no real mixing or anything else like that. Oh, excuse me. So next what we're going to do is we're going to come and look at these northern spots. Again, we're looking for magnetic mixing. And it's not just, oh, these are close together right there. Magnetic mixing has to take place within the umbras. And remember, the umbras are, excuse me as I open up another window here. The umbras are the black dark core. The penumbra is the orange that surrounds it. And when we're looking for a delta spot, we're looking for both positive and negative polarities in terms of umbras, the actual dark sunspots, within the same penumbral region. So coming back here, we see things that are very, very close. We look and we see blue and red very close to each other here. But we also see that this is not a very strong penumbral region. The umbras are not very well set. And this is just not something that we can actually say is a big flare danger. Now, granted, these sunspots morph around a lot, so who knows what's going to happen, but maybe keep a watch on that the rest of the day. Much more excited about what's incoming here. Okay, look at this. Immediately, within 1 or 2 seconds, you should notice this development right here. Now, as of now, the umbras are not strong enough for me to call that a delta, but as this group has been doing nothing but developing for 2 days, I'd say that we should watch there for flaring. Of course, in terms of flaring, so I pull it up here. This is the GOES X-ray flux, updating in 1 minute, if I could spell the word minute correctly. We haven't really had much. Remember, we were talking before that these massive sunspots were either going to give us one heck of an uptick in solar flaring, or it was going to be so disappointing because of just how big the sunspots were, how complex they looked, and perhaps it was a signal that we'd be going towards another grand solar minimum if we didn't get any major flaring, and indeed we do not have any major flaring. One of the things I do every morning is I go to, excuse me, I still can't spell. I go to spaceweather.com pretty much every single morning. Love watching what they do. Their Earth to Sky Calculus group actually set a new high altitude record for their halobacteria. That's pretty cool. Come here and we'll look at the solar wind really quickly. And what you should notice here is over the last 24 hours, the solar wind speed has gone from 400 up to about 450. Now, that's nothing to write home about. It's not causing any disruption in our geomagnetic shield, but this is indeed the edge of a coronal hole stream. Now, what do I mean when I say the edge of a coronal hole stream? Hopefully I can find this fairly easily this way. Okay. This is the Enlil spiral from NOAA, and if you've been here a while, you've heard a lot about glancing blows from coronal mass ejections. Well, this is about as close as you come to a glancing blow from a coronal hole stream. This little dot down here, and let's look at the velocity. This little dot down here is Earth, and you can see that this red, strong readings, a little higher on the chart, that's actually the coronal hole stream from the coronal hole down south that faced Earth a couple of days ago. You might remember it was pretty square-shaped. Well, its solar wind didn't get north enough to get us completely, and so that's why we're only taking moderately increased speed at this time. Now, we all know that we have another coronal hole coming in. Let's go up here to the 211 angstroms. We know that this coronal hole is directly Earth-facing today and tomorrow. By the way, this one down here is the one that's exiting right now, the one that put the solar wind stream in place that's giving us a glancing blow right now. But this one will be directly facing Earth today, and let's take a look at the power. And this is what a lot of people have been wanting to know how to find. First thing you have to do, if you don't have the web app downloaded on your computer, you need to just Google or internet search for ISWA, I-S-W-A, NASA. And once you get the plugin or free app installed, it's going to pop up right here, and you're automatically going to be on the solar tab. You're going to stay on the solar tab, go to some of the ladder signets, click panel number 14, and over here, Earth magnetic connectivity. Now, in addition to showing all of the connection points, which is the primary purpose of this signet, you know, the study of where these exactly are at any given time is how we determine where our magnetic connection to the star is, which, by the way, is just over here on panel number 13. And right now, oh, we've actually jumped center disk. Glad I pulled this up. We're up here with the northern spots. And if this group does complex into delta, boy, will that be a solar proton event if it fires. But interestingly enough, going back here, that's interesting. If you've been watching for a while, you know that the left side is the Earth-facing side. If you couldn't figure that out, just look up at the top here. We're in between the 11th and the 14th, so this is what's facing Earth. And look, you can see half of our total connectivity is directly on that point right there, center disk, with the remaining 5 actually departing with the coronal hole in the south. But enough explanation. Down here we can see these colors, and they don't seem to match up with where the sunspots are up here. These are actually the coronal holes. And this is the speed of the solar wind that we detect coming out of them. So, why do I say that's the coronal hole power? Because the coronal holes are where those arcing loops we see on the sun don't arc back down. They extend out into space. It's open magnetic fields, and the solar wind streams are allowed to just spew out. And the more powerful the coronal hole, the stronger the solar wind. So when we're looking down here and we see this red, we know that there is very, very powerful solar wind coming out of the southern polar coronal hole. And this one right here, this little guy right there, that should be directly Earth-facing between the 11th and the 14th. I guess technically it looks like tomorrow it will be a bit more Earth-facing. That's this guy right here, of only moderate power, and the earthquake condition index does not hit A range. We still stay in this moderate sort of watch zone right now. In terms of anything happening on the sun the last 24 hours, not much. This will actually show us the last 48 hours. This is the southern coronal hole exiting. There's a lot of surface events, a lot of energetic surface events, things shooting around. Well, as I play this again, watch a simultaneous surge across the star, pretty much right there at the end. I'll go back just a few seconds, and you're going to watch. There's a simultaneous surge on the surface that cuts right through here. That's very cool, and I hope Google Plus was able to pull that up at speed. But if not, you know where to go find it. You can just click the 48-hour MP4s, and it'll just pull it up for you. You can watch the last 2 days of the sun. Anyway, there's not much going on right now. There were no major quakes overnight, no major solar flares. The reason that we are here right now doing this live is because we are still waiting for the primary video of the day to upload. What this is, as a reminder, the video that will be uploaded, it is the update to our conference speech. For those who have been here with us for a long time, for those who have watched the speech a couple of times, I'm not sure what new you're going to get. However, the purpose of this was to add and polish as much of the conference speech that the Thunderbolts were kind enough to, they were kind enough to give me the forum in the first place, and were kind enough to post the video, and gave me permission to do some updates and edits and put it out myself. This is really what the argument is. I have tried to put forth this argument behind the tsunami of truth, as we call it, riding at the coastline of the green agenda. The video will be called Why Earth Stopped Warming. It shouldn't be new news to any of you, anyone listening to the video, that the Earth has stopped its global warming. It's just a matter of, well, why did it happen? Why was it warming in the first place? And what can we expect going forward? I really hope that you guys will receive it well. The first 20, 25 minutes is mostly the speech, but there are new additions and new pieces added throughout. The last 5 to 7 minutes is completely new, stuff we haven't seen before. So really hope that when this finally does get uploaded here, don't know when it'll happen, but it should happen at some point today, you will do your best to share it, because this is the argument. This is as clear as it could possibly be, diametrically opposed to those complex mathematical computer models that all seem to agree year after year, but seem to be wrong year after year. 20 years of failed global warming predictions. It's really not that complex. It's truly not. And that's what we're going to attempt to show there. Anyway, much appreciated with the live show today. I appreciate your patience as we're still waiting for that video to upload. As I said before, calm day on the star, calm day here on Earth. But let's keep a watch on those central sunspots. Definitely right here, especially now that we know. Oh, I'm sorry, I took the screen share off. I'll put that back up. We want to especially watch right here for any complexion or any any further complexity or any complexing or morphology there, because the Earth connection to the Sun is right there, and we'd be in danger of a solar energetic particle event. Other than that, much appreciated this morning. Thanks for joining me, and keep an eye out for that video when it does come out here in a few hours. Be safe, everyone.